Hey guys, welcome to another Patriot Prime's Top 10 list. Now, it's no secret of mine that I am a huge fan of the Generation 1 Marvel Comics series. The comics was my Generation 1 fiction when I was a child. I didn't have access to cable television, and I don't even think I even saw my first animated show until my dad rented the Ultimate Doom for me from a video store. And this was back in the day where not only did you rent the VHS tape, we had to rent the VHS player to go along with it. Now, the Transformers comic series from Marvel came out in May of 1984 and even had its own animated commercial to coincide with the release of the books. This was even 3 months prior to the original animated series. We also have to thank Marvel writer Bob Budiansky for the creation names and bios of many of our favorite characters. If it wasn't for him, Optimus Prime, Megatron, Starscream, Jazz, and the rest may not even exist as the characters we know of today. But I'm not here for a history lesson in Marvel Comics, but rather an appreciation of the art of the cover. So welcome to Patriot Prime Reviews Top 10 Generation 1 Transformers Marvel Comics covers.
You're the best around. Nothing's gonna ever keep you down. You're the best around. Nothing's gonna ever keep you down. You're the best around. Nothing's gonna ever keep you down.
Hey, now I'm basing my top 10 list on two things. Not only does the art have to look good, but the cover needs to grab you. It needs to pull you in. When you see this comic on the rack, you want to spend that hard-earned dollar you earned that week mowing yards on this comic book. So we're going to start with my top 10, counting down, number 10, issue 67. Here we have Galvatron gracing the cover on a world he has just conquered. This is Galvatron's first appearance in Marvel Comics in the regular series. He did show up in the animated comic adaptation, the animated movie comic adaptation, but this was a completely different character that Marvel introduced, pulling Galvatron from the future to do battle in 1989. Number 9 is issue 69. This was a Andrew Wildman cover. I really enjoyed his art in the comics, and with this cover you had Optimus Prime, you have Grimlock, Starscream, Shockwave, Ravage, another angry Galvatron with Unicron in the background, all coming together, big question mark on the cover, and that question mark just made you ask yourself, what is going on in here? And not only that, this is the first cover in a long time where the characters are colored correctly and are drawn the way they're supposed to look. So there we go, that's number 9. Number 8, issue 70. As a kid, this was a creepy cover. You have Megatron fused with Ratchet. This is a horror movie cover. You're like, what is happening? This looks like something out of The Thing. You have to grab this book. You have to see what's going on and what happened to these two popular characters. It's a messed up cover, and I dig it. That's my number 8. Number 7, issue 80, the series finale. We have Bludgeon on the cover, getting ready to execute poor old Wheeljack, who just can't seem to take a break, with the big 80 in a 4-issue limited series across the back, epic conclusion on the bottom, and in the shadows is Optimus Prime. Spoiler alert, he died in the comics again, and now there he is. He's coming back. You got to grab it. Not only is it the ending of the series, you got to find out what happens. That's my number 7. Number 6, issue 17, the Smelting Pool. This was another horror type cover because you see Blaster, which is also his first appearance in the comics, being thrown into this smelting pool, which is advertised on the front, while you're seeing these Autobots being melted, or not Autobots, you'll know for Autobots, seeing these different robots, we're going to assume are Autobots, being melted in the pit. You've got a guy with his eyeball popping out. You've got one over here with his body's just decomposing. They look like the guy from RoboCop who fell into toxic waste. Anyway, that's my number 6. Number 5, issue 12, Optimus Prime, Autobot Killer. Tell me that cover doesn't grab you. You want to find out what is going on in this issue. Optimus Prime finally comes back after being captured by Shockwave or imprisoned by Shockwave, and he doesn't come back exactly the way he should. This issue right here is where I picked up and started getting the comic religiously. Beforehand, I get an issue here, issue there, but I didn't start reading religiously until issue 12, and you can see why. Number 4, Headmasters number 1. This kind of came out of nowhere. You go to pick up your comic book from the local drugstore where I got mine. The lady was kind enough to hold it for me every week. And she pulled this one out and says, "This isn't regular Transformers. Did you want it?" And it just blew my mind. For one, I have no idea who this character is. I have no idea what Headmasters are. But here's this giant robot ripping his own head off with these flames in the background, the city burning, all these guys holding laser guns. Yes, I want that comic. So there it is. That's my number 4. Number 3, issue 41. This was a great issue. It had a full-out Autobot Decepticon battle on the moon, and it was drawn to perfection on this cover. I mean, it doesn't even have any titles, any splash wording at all. Transformers, battle scene, multiple robots. I'm in. Number 2, issue 3. This was my introduction to the Transformers. I walked into a drugstore, our local drugstore again, with my dad. He was picking up his medication. I'm at the comic rack. I have no idea who the Transformers are. I see this. Spider-Man webbing up a really, really pissed off robot. I had to get it. This issue right here is what started that for me. Also, can you imagine if Marvel kept the Transformers? Would the Transformers be part of the MCU right now? We have not had to struggle through Bayverse. Oh, the possibilities. We will never know. As the old title of that Marvel comic book was, What If? And my number 1, the best Transformers comic cover in existence, issue number 5. You have, this was the issue that started the entire series from its 4-issue limited series. And issue 4 ended with the Decepticons being poisoned and Shockwave busting through the ceiling of the Ark and taking out all the Autobots. The last panel was Shockwave just standing over everybody who's been defeated. And the first issue we get when the series starts regular, Shockwave standing there, the Transformers all are dead. This was great. I mean, this was one I pulled right off the shelf too. I remember I was out of town. I think I was visiting family somewhere, and we went to a shop, and there this was, and I had to get it. And this comic cover here has been recreated numerous times. I've seen people do it art style, new art variations, and I've seen people do it with their figures recreating this cover. Issue number 5, in my opinion, the best comic book cover for the Transformers ever. And that's it, guys. That is my top 10 list of Marvel Comics Transformers cover. I hope you liked the video. If you want to see more of what I do, please like and subscribe. This is Patriot Prime. Hooah!